This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, everyone. This is our latest and greatest show and tell for the NEBA book group. And this month we're going to be talking about our Posted with Love 2, our second annual Valentine card exchange. We had a whole bunch of people participate. We all sent out about 18 cards that we handmade, and the results were extraordinary. It was really fun to open our mailboxes this month. So we're going to go through by alphabetical order the cards that were made, and hopefully the people who are here on this Zoom call can begin to talk about their thinking and what moved them to make what they made. So why don't we just get to it, Christina? I think that's what we want to say. This was the first card we all received.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, that's one of my cards. I guess if you scroll through, you'll see. I think there might have been doubles of pictures. So maybe there were 9 or 10 different pictures that I used. So each of you got a different picture. As it said on the inside, my late husband was a pretty, I thought, very good photographer and very patient. And the pictures he took were all around Massachusetts, and most of them right in our garden, because he was ill for a while, and he would sit there very patiently and end up taking fantastic photos. And I wanted to share them all with you. I coordinated about, the 10 different photos with 3 different colored papers on the inside, blue, green, or pink, that had flower petals in the paper. I did not make that paper, that it was purchased. The little hearts were made with just paper I decoupaged like old napkins on. So they sort of some had different patterns on them, but they had a sort of interesting texture to them. And inside was that little note that had a quote from Mary Oliver about cherishing cherishing the world. And I think that's what I wanted to capture in the cards. And that is, what my husband was seeking to do. And we spent a lot of time in our garden. And it was really meaningful for me to make the cards and share those photos with you. This was my first year doing the exchange. And I just also want to say that February for me is, it's my anniversary month, Valentine's Day, and my birthday. So I gathered up all these cards you all sent. And on the 13th, which would have been my anniversary, and the 14th, Valentine's Day, I opened one every couple hours. And I really think it made the holiday a beautiful thing for me. And I've put them in my journals now, and I've shared some of your beautiful cards with, I brought some to show my mother, and my kids were actually here this morning for breakfast, and I was showing them all the interesting, beautiful cards you made. And it's really been a pleasure for me to be part of this. And so I just want to thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I think I'm going to do what you did, and that is save next year, because that will mark the holiday. It's really a lovely thing to do. I think someone else might have done that, and I thought that was really interesting. Does anyone have questions for Andrea?
I love the I love the thing about this, that it had the different layers to it, that not in addition to the card and the photograph, that there was the little quote inside. That was like a little, extra bonus. And it was just so sweet to have that extra piece to the card.
I had, prior to sort of getting involved with the bookmaking myself, I was making books at Shutterfly with a lot of my husband's photos or our family photos. And I would make ones with like all his photos of bugs and animals and nature. And I used quotes from different books along with the photo. So they were kind of interesting. He had a great photo of like this beautiful tree, and it's actually in the public garden, and I have found exactly like where he was standing when he took this, and there were people sitting on a bench they looked enveloped by this tree branch, and there was a beautiful quote about trees from the book Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. So like that went on that page. And then he had some like a kind of more sinister pictures of animals. And I had a quote from some movie. Who's that Werner Herzog, who has like great quotes about, like how sinister nature is and everything. So I would like kind of find quotes to go along with all the photos. And that's something I've been doing for quite a while.
It was very much appreciated.
Really nice job. It was a real surprise.
Thank you.
The way it unfolded and unfolded and unfolded. Thank you, Andrea. I hope that you'll participate next year.
I intend to. It was really a wonderful experience. And I mean, all your cards were so beautiful, so exciting to open each one. And wow, I just loved them.
That's why we do it. Yeah.
All right. Let's
go to the next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna move forward in the slideshow to Anya, and she can't be here, but Carolyn, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about Anya's work here.
Well, Anya, as we know, is from Poland, and she very much expresses herself as a Polish person and of Polish extraction. And these are Polish, apparently they're traditional Polish Valentine's Day types of exchanges, and that they do this cutting of these hearts. And she's done hundreds of them, and exhibits them. And I don't know if any of you have seen at Twiggs Gallery in Bosco, New Hampshire, she had a whole grouping of them, quite a big wall of these hearts that she cuts. And so there you have it. And of course she includes the little mess that she makes with all the cuttings, that if you don't know that that's going to come out, you end up being showered with little red pieces of paper. I had a feeling it was going to happen, so I took it out really slowly.
She did a piece that was I don't know. Let me try to say it. So it's Veshinanki. Veshinanki is the name of this style. She did this last year as well, and they were a different format, and every single one was different. But here you're seeing the opening of the envelope and it tumbling out, and it does get you if you're not paying attention. I love her attributes that she always does, and the style of like her colophon page. And just her aesthetics of all of it are always just, she does really great with these exchanges. Yeah, beautiful.
So that's Anya's piece, or pieces.
It's mine and NEBA.
I'd love to see her actually doing it. I can't even imagine, but I wish that I could, I wish she would do a video of it or do it live or something, because it would be amazing to watch her do those it's like brain surgery.
Also,
And
just
each
should we
one
should
different.
mention the poet Zimborska,
Yeah.
who is pretty famous, no longer with us, but maybe she won all kinds of prizes. Anyhow, she's a much beloved poet in Poland.
Nice.
Beautiful.
All
Thank
right.
you, Anya.
Looks like I'm up next.
You're up.
I put a couple of process shots. I did the 40 by 40-inch vat in front of my fireplace and pulled everybody's marbling in one pull. I used some commercially bought pre-printed paper that had hearts on it, so it ended up having an over marble kind of effect. The ghost print of the first vat was printed on the black darts paper on the second run. So basically I did two 40 by 40-inch vats with paper in different sizes, but basically to get the contents. You're just seeing some of the different piles of stuff. I have a knack for finding stuff and then using it like 10 years later. I had a big package of this really interesting pearlescent cardstock from way back, and it just seemed like the shininess and kind of glistening, which I usually am not into, fed into the idea for this card, which I thought we don't necessarily love ourselves enough. And especially as most of our people in our group and all the women in the exchange are all, obviously women. I think that there's a lot of work to be done on kind of pushing yourself more to the top of the list of who needs love in your world. We need to be a little nicer and kinder and gentler to us. And I was thinking that how could I put a mirror to make you interact? And it occurred to me that the Mylar, I have a bunch of Mylar from a photo project that I've done. I mean, like a lot of it. And so I tried to I made custom stickers with hand cutting these kind of organic boob, butt, heart shapes. Yeah. And I made my own washi tape out of some of the scraps. And I was trying to think of like just throwing them in there, but I didn't want to just throw them in there. I had issues with the aesthetics of where this ended up. I don't know. I struggled with it a little bit. The bag and like, I don't know. And I think I sent myself one and NEBA as well one. And the stickers on the right-hand panel that were mounted down were perfect. And when it came back in the mail, like both of them both had bubbles, like little bubbles had appeared in the adhesive, which is a drag, which is one of the reasons why I like the idea of sending yourself one. But the problem is you need to do that before you mail and finish everything, right?
If you want to make changes.
Yeah, so anyway, so the idea of this is important to me right now, especially because I think that Christina needs to be nicer to Christina, especially. But also the idea that like somebody needs to tell you that you are goddamn amazing, all of you, and you can look at our card swap as a pile or individually, or even just some of the envelopes, even before you even got to like what's inside there. I mean, wow, really nice. The difference it makes in your everyday life to get mail that's not menacing or threatening or junk or irrelevant, financially motivated in some way, commercial, advertisements. Just so nice. I'm in a zine swap with Laurel Moorhead as well, that I get a monthly. So I've really changed what my mail looks like in the last 12 months by being in these mail art programs. And it just is so nice. Yeah. So sending my love to you guys. Yeah.
Christina,
Thanks,
I love the
Christina.
words. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
I love the words. If you flip back to the inside, the 5 or 6 words that you selected,
Yeah.
that's what really touched me.
Yeah.
Like acceptance, aware, like to
There's
me.
a progression as you go down the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great. That was really
Yeah.
insightful.
I'm also thinking of I'm in this, like I said, I'm in this other swap with the zines, and amazing women is the theme of the month. And I'm converting some of this content, and I took a lot of photography of actually the marbling. I'm going to make a color oxplow single-sided version of this, and then put a sticker on it as the front cover, so you're forced to like, look, you are amazing as the actual like front of it, with marbling and one of these mylar pieces as the zine for that month. And it goes into more detail. It goes into lists of like suggestions for ways to encourage these 7 words, because it's 6 on the list and then the word love. Tips, really, I mean, just some tips for everyday life. Things like stay away from jerks. That seems
Those are ones
obvious.
to live by.
That seems obvious, but it's about caring more for yourself than putting, you are guarding your precious gift of you from the experience of these jerks, right? So it's about protection. It's about valuing yourself enough not to put yourself into scenarios with a bunch of, these are like not necessarily a jerk that pops out of nowhere. It's people that you just have bad not positive interactions with them, and that this just not going to work out. You can choose who you hang out with. Don't give the jerks the time. But it's a whole bunch of ideas that are in that vein that I'm working on for this other zine. But anyway, yeah, so it's about
Cool.
empowerment. It's about me, but it's not about me, right?
Christina, you are always inspired by your own ideas, and your ideas take you to places beyond the original idea. And it's really fascinating to watch you work and make your art and flower and bloom out of it.
I'm blooming. Oh no, quick.
You are blooming, and I'm not talking about an algae bloom.
Yeah. Yeah. The other
Yeah.
thing in this that's hiding within this is the fact that this series of ongoing marbling related to hearts, and this like whirl of insanity of the marbling imagery is amour fou, which is French for crazy love or mad love, more precisely. But this idea that loves in all their forms do like piss you off as well as inspire and hug and give you warmth. There's some duality of the push and shove and the yin and yang, and just the swirl and the passion, not just like erotic passion, but like passioned emotions
Emotional. Yeah.
that are there. So it's a conceptual image as well. Yeah.
Always with you.
Some
Always.
there's definitely secret vagina action going on, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's like a all encompassing thing. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
You do it. You do it well.
Okay, cool. Gail.
Oh, hi. My thing this year was a giant tree fell on my house and I had to move out for like 6 or 8 months, and I'm still living in this apartment someplace. And so I had to work with what I had, and I didn't have very much, but I had plenty of time. So I just like cut out hearts and made things, and I had like 4 or 5 pieces of paper, and that's all I had, in a glue stick. So it was really fun.
And they are darling.
The little
They
flower
really are.
pot. I love the little origami flower pot shape.
That's the only thing I can fold. And
I love seeing the ones that we didn't get,
Yeah.
you only see yours, you just assume that they're all the same, but it's really fun seeing the other ones too.
And this is over marbling on the left.
On the left, that's I call that party marbling.
How many times did she get marbled?
Once.
That's a 1 marble?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
It looks like it's over marbling.
It's
Yeah.
called party marble. And
Okay.
it yeah, and that
Cool.
That was fun. I did a lot of that, and previously I had the paper, so I did the best I could with
They're
what
very happy.
Great.
They're so happy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm sort of generally happy. I mean, I didn't get squished by a giant tree.
That's always something to celebrate.
I came very close to being squished by a giant tree. So I guess I'm, even though I don't like living in this furnished apartment, I'll live through it and I will get back into my house and
Do they have a time frame?
yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 months now, and it'll be another 2 or 3 months.
Oh,
Whoa.
I mean, the
Wow.
house really got mashed.
Yeah.
And
I
well,
think-
on a
think-
happy note, or I don't know, I mean, that one, what's on the screen now, I mean, that's STEM. It's just, I don't know if it's your eye, if it's, it's just beautiful. It's so balanced. It's so lovely. And
Well,
oddly, it
it's
looks like a
got-
tree.
It's got mixed references. It's a heart, but it's a flower and it's a butterfly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
beautiful.
It's like really actually a lot more to it. It's very elegant. Yeah.
well, thank you, because I can do that. So I did.
I was going to comment too on the green, the simplicity of the green. They look like, is it Giacometti who makes
I think
the
it's
gold-
Brancusi.
Brancusi makes the gold spires.
Yeah.
spires,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they're very Brancusi like, really
I think
elegant.
that's just luck, I had
I don't know.
I had one very narrow sheet of green paper.
Well, you did it on the previous image with the pot with the 3 stems. I mean, the stems are really, to me, they tie it all together in that artist's way. What was the name of the artist again?
Brancusi?
Brancusi, yes. Look at them all. Look at all the Brancusis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
When you have one piece of paper and, like one piece of green paper and a few other pieces of paper, that's what happens.
That's
Um,
what you're
Well, I think
making.
that, I think sometimes because we usually have so much, it's easy to overthink things and get too hung up in using all the different materials. And so in a way, it's nice to have that. I mean, I wouldn't wish your house, I don't wish anybody has a tree fall in their house, but in a way, it's a good mental exercise to try to do something like that. It's like trying to do a drawing with just 2 colors or,
Yeah,
it's good to have some limits.
It was very fun. I like to make cards anyway. And so this was the second year I've done the Valentine thing. And it's one of my favorite things to do that's collaborative during the year.
Your chicken print from last year is still in my kitchen.
I like chicken. I like to draw chickens.
It was a really sweet Valentine's chicken. Yeah.
That's very nice.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Look forward to next year when you're in your reconstructed house and you have more than 5 pieces of paper.
Okay.
Who's next, Christina?
Suzanne Auersheim. Let me spotlight you. Suzanne.
great.
All right. Let me go forward. Here we go. Lovely envelope.
Oh, good. Yeah, the envelope, it was just sort of along the same lines of what we were just talking about, how you kind of get hung up. I was like, I need to find some red or pink envelopes. And then I was like, but I have all these sort of ugly basic envelopes. And so I just decided to use those instead of running out again to get another supply. And I used the jelly plate. So it was simple. It was really fun. And then, of course, I love stickers. So I had a lot of stickers.
Oh, I love this. I absolutely love
Yeah.
this little butterfly.
Cool.
And what I
Oh.
liked about it is like when you folded the heart, you've got sort of this little indentation in the back to make it like 2 places to fold there, so that the butterfly doesn't have to sit right in the middle. But the butterfly still gets closed inside. I just like the butterfly sort of like on the side nest.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Asymmetrical butterfly.
Yeah, it's engineered well. Yeah, definitely.
Nice design.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with mine. It came in and the whole envelope was mutilated. Yeah,
Aw.
it was ripped up and mutilated. The card beautifully did not get touched.
Oh,
but the
thank
envelope
Oh, that's thankful.
looks like a
Yeah.
dog chewed it, which is so sad.
Well, you know what? I'm glad the envelope protected the card
It
at least.
did, very much so.
Yeah, it made it a lot sturdier because of the acrylic paint, sort of thickening up that paper of the envelope.
Yeah.
But the butterfly is actually, so I printed a bunch of these butterflies using a Tetra Pak technique, and I printed it on a little Sizzix Big Shot, and using that as a printing press. And I actually printed it on old book pages too. So some of the butterflies may actually have some writing on the back from, like chapter 4 or whatever it was. Because I'm sure, like many of you, I collect so many things. And again, I was like, okay, I need to get these done. I don't have enough paper. And then I looked around my studio and I thought, that is ridiculous.
Exactly.
I
I
have
was gonna say,
so
you
much
don't have
paper.
You don't have enough paper.
And then I thought, oh, well, that's kind of fun. It's going to be printed on a book page. So it was recycling twice. So I used the Tetra Pak, which is like a box of chicken broth. I think that's what it had been. And then the book pages that I used to print on. So that was fun. So yeah, I wanted it to be like a little pop-up. And so I started to experiment with stuff. And then I have this book about pop-up cards, and then it kind of like inspired that and then went to this. So it was really fun. I really liked it this year. I feel like it represents more of what I do with my art in general too. That's why I wanted to do the butterfly, because a lot of my artwork has to do with insects, and it always has. So it was kind of sticking with my personal theme.
Nice.
But it was
And
fun.
the Happy Valentine's Day looks like it's a stamp.
It is. I have atrocious handwriting.
So did you have that stamp made for this, or did you have it?
I think it was, I had it. It could have been from Michael's is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been the Dollar Tree.
Great. I love the way the butterfly.
$1.25 tree.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. $1.25.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I really like it a lot. It's beautiful.
Someone was saying that about the butterfly. Keep going.
I said, I love the way it looks like the butterfly floats. So even not so attached, it is attached, but it seems like it's not attached. So
It's like it's gonna take off.
lovely. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was hoping.
Nice.
Right.
Well, thank you
my.
so much.
Beautiful.
Just
Oh,
the
it was-
beautiful simplicity of it. It's a gorgeous little treasure.
Oh, thank you. I loved participating last year, and I love doing it this year. It really like gets me going in the new year with something exciting. And
Yeah.
it's like the idea that it's like, oh, I'm going to be sharing these with people and they're sharing with me. There's something about that whole process that just feels so good, So thanks, everybody.
Awesome. All right. Elisa's up next.
Oh, hi, everyone. This is my first year with the Valentines. I'm kind of a new member as well. And I'll say 2 things about receiving them. My husband was just as excited as I was. every time he got the mail, he said, "Oh, here's another one." And so, and then beyond that, I have a friend who's a book person and her sister, and I brought them all over in cute little bags, and I said, "Here, you have to look at all of these." So they just loved it. They looked at, they examined them, and so it was really great for you to share them with me, but I shared with other people, so that was wonderful, kind of in the spirit of Valentine's Day.
Nice.
And so I'm a printmaker and book artist, so I used all my scraps of prints and my handmade paper to make these. So the idea was, I've used this format a couple times. It's really a cool format. It's like a flag book, but it only has one flag. So it's all folded and glued. There's no sewing. And I made a lot of these books. Here's one I made for one of my shows, and I sold them, and people love these little books. They're so easy to make. And part of what I liked too is every single person, the last page was a piece of my own handmade paper. So to me, that was very special to give people my own handmade paper, as well as my prints. And then, of course, the translucent paper is washi. I don't make washi, but so everybody got a little piece of handmade paper. And I love this quote from Chagall, just thinking about how love really, drives everything. That's, as they say, all we need is love. So it was really fun to make these 18 books, although I had several other big deadlines at the same time. So it was interesting. But I loved
Life gets in the way.
Yeah. And my whole dining room table was all laid out with these scraps cut exactly the right shape and folded and ready to glue. It was like a little factory. It was really fun. And fun to find which piece went with which one. Everyone's is totally different. So I had them all laid out. I said, "Oh, this paper will go with this print." And so it was like a big puzzle. And I loved being part of this too. It was really fun, really fun.
I love the shape of this. It's so appealing. It's so unique.
Yeah, it's just like you could hold it in your hand. I love
really
books you can hold in your hand.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the papers just felt really good too. It was a lovely, all the different papers together.
Yeah.
It was such a nice, I don't know. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Most of my work, I have a kind of tactile aspect to it. So that's very observant. Thank you.
I thought that it was very delicate in its approach, but it felt sturdy in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it kind of, there was a delicacy about it, but
yeah,
I was confident that it wasn't, going to fall apart. Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
It's also way more than a card. It really is a book. And gee, that was nice to get a special book like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that gift.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Well, speaking of getting more than a card, Susan, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of making a flag book with one flag. So, this was an example of a project that seemed much simpler in my head than it was in reality. And the challenge that I had was that after Christmas, I had to do this in 2 weeks because in the middle of January, I left for a 3-week trip to Patagonia. So I wanted to get it done. I had to get it done before I left. And I left them with my husband to mail. So anyway, so my process, and I had some simpler ideas, but I just couldn't get them to work. So, and I had made one other flag book about a month before this, and I was really enchanted by it. I thought it was so much fun that it actually worked, that I, for some reason, thought that it would be easy to just whip out another 18. So I I printed the papers. And and in my head, I had a very simple process. Once I figured out all of the measurements, I printed all of the words so that they would be exactly 1/2 inch strips. But then when I went to actually tape them on, they didn't fit. So I ended up having to hand cut all of them
Oh
to
my
fit
goodness.
the right size. So I really had a love-hate relationship with this because the first, it's a little bit
How
like,
did you get all the song titles? Did you like Google it, or were you like all thinking of them? Or it was so funny.
I think I brainstormed as many as I could. And when I ran out of ideas, I Googled songs with love in the title.
Mhm.
And then they had to be, I had specific requirements. They had to be, they couldn't be too long because they wouldn't fit with the
Yeah.
book. And they had to be the songs that everybody was kind of familiar with. So anyway, it was sort of a comedy of errors. I was pleased with how they all came out. I was amazed that they all came out. In addition to the challenges with the measurements, I ran out of some of the paper, so I had to get more paper. I had to print more paper. And then after I did one, it occurred to me that it might cost more than one stamp to go through the mail. So I took it to the post office and I gave it to the mailman, and he put it on the scale and he said, well, it'll be 2 stamps. And I went, okay, that's good. So I left, and then when I went to put them in envelopes, I couldn't find, I had bought envelopes that I thought were the right size, but they were too small. So I had new envelopes. So I addressed all the envelopes a second time. I left them with my husband to mail, and he took them to the post office, and the woman at the post office said, oh, you have to send these as a package. They're much too thick to be sent as a mail. So $90 later.
Oh,
I noticed that it was expensive. Like, wow. Honey.
Anyway, it was.
Oh, look here.
Oh.
Thank you.
He's a hero. It was a learning experience. I learned a lot in the process in terms of making multiples of things, and I got a lot more efficient with how I did some of the things. And I don't know if I'm ever going to make a flag book again, but I might. But I enjoyed it. I love this project. I love this project. I do. I love getting the Valentines. I saved them all, and we invited some other couple over for dinner on Valentine's Day. And in between dinner and dessert, we opened them together. And
Great.
which was really fun. And then I shared them with a whole bunch of different friends who absolutely loved them. So this is sort of the gift that keeps on giving. This project. It's really wonderful.
wow.
Fantastic,
Oh, that's-
honey.
Wonderful.
Again, you designed a way to make it so special, the opening with your friends and all at once like that. Terrific.
Yeah, I like this project a lot.
Yeah. We'll continue it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. All good. Fantastic.
I know when I opened it, it took my breath away.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah.
did.
I appreciate the feedback. It was it was a labor of love, but I really I was pleased with how they came out, and they're all a little bit different because the printing is a little bit different. And anyway, I'm glad you like them.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Carolyn, you're up
Oh.
next.
Mine,
Oh, the backside of Susan's. I'm sorry. I thought we were at the end.
no,
Beautiful papers.
that is Susan's.
Yeah. Here we go.
So I, like everyone else, had this labor of love. I call this the kitchen sink card, because every step I took, I needed to add something else. And I wanted a pop-up. Last year I didn't do a pop-up, I just did an open heart. And this year I saw it in a book, a pop-up book that a friend gave to me. And I thought, oh, this will be easy. Well, it was easy, but then I marbled. I had this marbled paper that I did with Christina, and I knew I had to mount it on the back, but that means I had to put a second cover over it, because the back of the marbled paper is really crappy. And then unbeknownst to me, there was a cover involved. Oh dear. And so I had a friend coming over to make jelly prints, and I just made everything in red and pink and purple. And, you know, so I was cutting out and cutting out and cutting out and cutting out and mounting, and then it was so blank still on the inside. When you make a pop-up and have to close it, the thing punches out. So you've got to have it kind of long, and then so you have to fill it up. So I just kept cutting and cutting and gluing. And if you go back to the front, Christina, the other thing I had to do was, because I ran out of red paper, I had to take the cover's a little shorter than the back. So I was able to put, you know, cut a smaller piece and glue it, and then cut the back and glue it. So then I had this icky spine. So then I took more marbled paper to cover up the icky spine. It just went on and on and on. So
So are you're saying that this strip of marbling is to hide mechanics?
Yes.
Okay. I just assumed it was, you know, a design that you intended, because I think it looks great, and I think it looks great from the backside too, which I can move us forward here. You're looking at two sets of cards as well.
Yeah, each one is different, of course. And that side, I didn't know what to do with that, so you got more love.
Yeah, it doesn't look labored at all. It just looks very fresh and fun.
I agree.
Looks planned.
So I think we call all of these happy accidents.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about Valentine's Day is you just sprinkle everything with hearts and you're good. Make it red, make it pink, make it hearts. You're good. So I'm already thinking about next year, and I don't know. I don't know.
Let it just wash over you.
Yes.
It's okay. It's okay.
Whew.
Woo. All right. Kathy Lobo is up next, and wowza, here's another really, really cool one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can spotlight her. Here we go. All
Hi,
right.
everyone. So I've been doing a lot of sort of Chinese thread book, Shanjirbao sort of structures, and having a bit of fun with it. And with these twist boxes, I thought, how nice if something kind of can disappear. And then if you want it to be bigger, it can get bigger. So that's sort of where this came from, where it can be an ornament like this, or you can put it in a drawer and it can disappear, or you can open it up like that. And then these hearts can fall out, and then you can close it a certain way so that they hang down, to me, in a pleasurable way, like this. So it says posted with, and then you have the LOVE. And then when you feel like you want to put the love away, you can put it away and it doesn't get damaged. It's all sort of protected in there. And Christina was kind enough to send me NEBA stickers. So in all our hearts is NEBA. And anyway, I made an edition. I decided to sort of call it an edition of 25. So I think in the future, I'm going to also sort of make an edition of a certain number. So then you have a beginning and an end place. And regarding my process, I made one as a prototype. And then I was like, okay, I'm happy with this. And then I went into production. So that's that. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, it's just
Great.
precious.
Beautiful.
Absolutely precious.
I think you do an amazing job, Christina, with the photography. You make
well,
it
thank
all
you.
look so good.
Yeah.
Really, like wow. So
Well, you know, I am actually a professional photographer.
I know, but it does. It still
That's kind of
goes.
my day job.
We have to
Yeah,
say
but
it.
Christina, you make each book sing. I mean, your photography is amazing.
Well, I appreciate it.
So,
I enjoy it. A
I
lot
think
of
it's
times,
really hard to photograph some of these things.
I
Yeah.
agree. And I like the fact that I'm giving you multiple angles of view so that you can see how versatile some of these things are and the way you pose them. That's kind of like my first reaction to this piece is how many different ways it feels and interacts with you and just keeps it's not a one read, you know, you just keep interacting and going back to it and changing how it's sitting in front of you. And that engagement level is really high, which I like a lot. It seems simple, but it's actually very complicated, even though it has like a simple classic kind of elegance about it. I like it for a lot of different reasons. Yeah.
Well, and I wanna thank you for rendering the lettering, because you did a really nice job. That not everyone can do that.
Yeah, it's all by hand. I didn't do any printing,
Yeah.
like
Wow.
photocopy or whatever.
Yeah.
When I was in graphic design school, we did a lot of practicing
Oh, sorry.
drawing letters.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I like the fact that it has a structure, like an architecture, yet it's so delicate. I mean, that kind of tension between this whole superstructure and then it's very delicate. You did a beautiful job with that.
Thank you. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Spread the love.
that.
The only thing I want to say is don't put the NEBA love away. Talking about closing it up and putting it away. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
Thanks, Kathy.
Lovely.
Really nice surprise. It was just
Thank
a little
you.
surprise a gift that kept on giving.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Susan Marsh.
It's me.
Another really great. Let me find. Is she with us? I believe she is. Yes.
I'm here. I'm here.
Good.
I'm here.
Let me spotlight you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Last year my card was also a bird with a book, and so I wanted to keep with that theme for this year. And I really wanted to make a little tiny, long and skinny book using the eco print. So I used red and yellow onion skins, and I just popped it in that little silver bowl with hot water, left it in for 2 sleeps. And then when I opened it up, I had these little books, and I made it a little, it's just a simple ox plow, like our zines. So it's a very simple little book structure. And I wanted the little birds to be a surprise, like a little present. So you didn't know it was a bird when you got it. And then you could open it up and the little heart would be nestled inside the bird this time. And then when I saw the little heart in the bird, it reminded me of the Emily Dickinson poem. So I put the Emily Dickinson poem about hope in the little booklet, because I wanted to spread peace and hope to everybody, because things in the world are really crazy right now. And the 2 things we really need are peace, hope. Well, 3 things: peace, hope, and love. So it was my gift to everybody.
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked about it is it looks good folded completely open, folded halfway, folded all the way. You know, it just looks good folded every which way you fold the bird. And, you know, I sort of forget that it's a bird until I open it again.
And the envelope was just beautiful too. I mean, I was really looking forward to opening the card when I saw the envelope. It just was beautiful. Was that with the onion skin die as well?
No, that was a rubber stamp that I carved.
Okay.
You
And
used that same
I like
stamp last
decorating.
year, right?
Sorry, yeah, that one.
That's the same stamp from last year?
That's the same stamp I used on the bird last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, the stamp is
I really
amazing.
like decorating the envelope so that everyone who has to deal with it in the post office gets a little surprise as well.
Nice.
Here is the stamp right here in the middle here.
Yeah, that's the stamp. Yep.
A little guy.
And then
I
there's
like
little
it,
cards I put over the address label so I could just stamp across it.
Yeah, that was
And so I
fantastic.
get these little cards now too.
So, if people don't recall last year's, you can look it up online. We have a nice page devoted to last year's as well as this year's. But last year's, that became not only a heart, but it became the feather, which I think is on the bird. It was like the bird feathers, right?
Yeah, it was the feathers on the bird. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, this idea of symbols and motifs that can have multiple interpretations being used in really interesting ways. I love that. Love that.
And
Yeah.
look at the postage stamp too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so excited when I went to the post office and I saw the bird carrying the post. I was like, oh, that's absolutely perfect. I have to have that.
Yeah.
Look, they made it for you.
I also like the way that the postal stamping occurred on this particular envelope, the one that
I
came
do too.
Yeah, look how that is, Boston on the bottom with the waves on the bottom.
It's upside down. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I love the cancellation marks can be really interesting. Yeah, let me see. I think we're in the middle of hope here. I love their feathers and their hearts. Again, it's really nice.
And they're onion skins too.
Yeah, yeah.
Susan, I absolutely love yours this year, and I have the one from last year. It's been on my workstation since last year. I love it so much.
Oh, good. Thank you.
So thank you so much for sending them both. And I love that it was the continuation of the bird kind of theme. It just it carried through. So it was great. And using that stamp again, yeah, it was just so well thought out. I
Well,
loved
thank
them
you.
both.
Yeah, so I have a theme, so you know what the theme will be next year.
Yay!
This is a little bit like a
I have no
pop-
idea what it will happen, but something will happen.
This is a little bit like
That's a lot of cutting.
dinner where everybody brings something completely different, but it's not planned.
Right.
It's really wonderful. It's wonderful how different everything is.
Seeing your mason jar lids as part of your clamping for your echo die, and now we're seeing the curvature of
Yeah.
that rusty kind of imprint from the mason jar lid.
Yep.
Nice. That's a nice detail that I wouldn't have noticed. I noticed the echo dyeing right away, but the transfer of the rust stains too is actually a nice addition.
Yeah, that happened as time went on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
you
a
mean
lot
when you first put it together, that wasn't there?
No,
Or-
there was nothing on it. I just put the onion skins and I put parchment paper between each layer, because each side are different. So I put parchment paper in between. So now I have all these little parchment papers that have
Nice.
the prints on them.
Oh my
Oh, well, that'll
God.
be fun as another item. So you can save those for next year and incorporate.
Exactly.
them.
So you might get them next year. You never know.
So did you do all that handwriting on each one?
I did. Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Wow,
It's a
you're
lot of writing.
beautiful. Also a lot of cutting. I mean, it's just the amount of labor. It's truly
Yeah.
a labor of love.
Yeah.
It was fun though.
So glad to have received your
Mhm.
gift.
Yeah.
It's really
lovely.
wonderful.
That's really nice.
And you have really nice handwriting.
Oh, thanks.
I agree. I agree. Okay. And let me get forward here. Ann McMillan, please. Let's awesome. This is a nice one too.
The graphic design.
Unmute myself. Yeah, I have a lot of wood type, so I pulled out all my O's and X's to play around with a little bit, and you know, I sort of had no idea where I was going with this. I just knew I wanted to play with the type, and I also I did the cover, and you know, on all of them. And then I sort of looked at the cards and I was like, okay, now I got to put something on the inside. What do I do? So this was not, you know, I mean, I have a hard time thinking of things when it comes to putting things together where am actually saying something other than just making books. And I found this quote, which I really, really loved, about old friends and new friends. And I said, well, you guys are all my new friends. And, you know, I have old friends too, but you're like my new friends. And I love, one of the things I use a lot in my artwork is old photos. So I had I picked out of all my stash of photos, like 6 different photos with friends. You know, and they were all different. Some were, you know, like this one with the 3 ladies. I have another 2 with 2 girls with the playing baseball and whatnot, younger friends, but they're all from basically the same era, the 20s, 30s. And because a lot of times I don't use my actual original old photos.
Yeah.
But what I do is I scan them and then reprint them out on actual photo paper.
Oh.
So that when I fold the paper, you know, like the glossy, I could fold and manipulate the paper and make it look like it's still old. You know, I rough it up so it looks like it's old. And you're still looking at it and it's on photo paper and whatnot. So that's what I did with a lot of these with the, you know, so if you got one, you saw the edges were a little bent and all, well, that was me playing with it. The original one does not look like that, but it's old.
Yeah.
So that, and then just, you know, adding some papers that I had, because I collage a lot. And that's what I ended up with.
I
So
love the
Christy-
collage look here and the old
Yeah.
and the new, and it really has a vintage flavor to it, but it's still modern. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
I think
I
it's
really
hard
like
to-
the text kind of, you know, went up onto the top of the card. It was like, it sort of kind of made it a surprise.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
consistent.
it's quite different than if it would have been all on the, you know, single page and then the other side blank.
Right?
Yeah. I'm very much where I go off the page. A
Yeah.
lot.
I love
Um,
that because it seems expansive, both on the front where the X's and O's, and also what was just mentioned about the text, you know, rising up.
Yeah.
Did you
Well,
do
thank
the
you.
spattering on the front cover?
Yes, I did. After I printed it out, when I was mixing my color I didn't want red. I wanted it more pinkish. And it really came out bubblegum pink, which I sort of went, oh no, you know, I was kind of hoping to overlay, but I realized I didn't have any extender and I couldn't use the Yaku because it would never have dried in time. So I had to use what I had that would dry. So then what I just did was I took through these basically it's like an ink, but it's in a spray bottle, and I have a couple different colors, and I just laid them all out on the floor and did a little spray, and then I decided to do a little on some paper, so that's why when the papers on the inside have a bit of the spray on it too. And I just sprayed everything and then put it all together. But it was too white, you know, the letters against the white background. I needed to soften it.
Yeah. I love your artistic tinkering.
Thank you.
It's really exciting. It's very exciting to see this and the different layers and yeah, and the judgments you made. Really
It's
neat.
aesthetically consistent with your other work as well. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with your work.
Yeah.
For the last like 4 or 5 years. I love the use of the old photos, and I definitely believe that you should not destroy the original old photo when you're coming up with ideas. So the use of scanning and then reproducing it and manipulating the new version is fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It did definitely make me wonder, like, surely she isn't sending me like an original photograph. And then when NEBA's had the same print, I was like, oh, okay. This is some pretty nicely done copy work.
Yeah, such as even on the one you have there, ripping the bottom. Some of them I didn't have to rip up or whatnot. That one had other stuff on the bottom, and I said it was too long, so I, you know.
Yeah.
I can happily rip these ones, whereas the originals, I don't, because I like to use them over and over again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Lovely piece.
Really
Thank you.
nice. Thank you, Anne. Any questions?
I had a question. Did you put like a some kind of coating on top of the photograph too to make it
No.
look old? No?
No, no.
Good.
What I did was I did a color scan.
Mhm.
So the color scan picked up the original photo, coloring,
Okay.
rather than if I changed it to a black and white, it would not have looked like the original photo. So all I did was a color scan. That's why you could see even the ink on the side of it
Yeah.
Right.
is
right.
in the actual color.
Yeah.
And what I use is I use glossy, photo paper.
Hmm.
Because those old photos, most of them were on a glossy type of paper.
Right.
They sure were.
So
You fooled
Yeah.
some of us, maybe all of us.
Yeah. Very nice.
good.
Though.
That's good.
Well done.
Thank you.
Christina, who's next?
Oh, Lori's next, but here's a little another view of that. Sorry. Lori, let me spotlight you.
Okay.
Look at that little stamp.
I love the other one that everyone got with the dove and the mailing. I wish I had seen that one, but when I was buying my stash of stamps, that was the only heart one, Valentine's one that appealed to me. And so it is adorable, but I very much like the dove with the envelope, the letter being mailed. That's what would have to me been better. But anyway, yeah. So I've been using these vellum envelopes that somebody told me about a while ago, and I love them because I've been using them a lot I'm in a postcard exchange with Santa Fe Book Arts Group, and also Berea Book Artists. And so and other things. And I just love being able to, see my art through there. And so I ended up using them a lot. I bought them originally for some specific project, and now I just reordered a stash of like 100 of them or something. So that's that. Yeah, I love the vellum envelopes. So I decided to use well, for the way that mine went was, if you go to probably the next one to see the inside. No. Okay. So I started with, I actually carved this heart, the bluish heart down below that's on the inside. I carved that one specifically, but then I think I sort of thought it was going to be on the front. And after I got it carved, I was like, I'm not feeling it. And then I went, wish you were here. And because for those of you who were in the Wish You Were Here project, Christina had proposed that design as a potential logo for the project. And I got so excited about it that after the meeting was done,
like an hour later or something.
Yes, I quickly carved one and sent it off to her. I was like, here, look what I did. I had so much fun. And she's like, that's it, it's the logo.
Fast.
And it was great because for the actual logo, she has the skill to, clean up the print, whereas mine has still got, a little bit of roughness to it and a lot of roughness to it. And but of course I have that stamp and I love it. And I love the sentiment of Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
And so, and then I realized that I thought, I have from my children's art supply, I have those little scissors that make scalloped edges and stuff. And so I found those. They are in my studio, but they're kind of in an area that I don't access that much, but I found them and I was able to trim the edges so it sort of looks like a stamp. And then of course I had to add gel pen because I have these metallic gel pens. It turns out if other people are obsessed with gel pens like I am, metallic ones, I've gotten the Uniball. I had them in white, silver, and gold. And one day I started feeling like I need them. And it might have been in relation to doing this project, but I suddenly was like, I need other colors of metallic gel pens. And it turned out you can buy a set of like, I think it was 10, and there's like a copper one, and there's blue and pink and all these great colors
That are
and
metallic.
they're metallic, and it's
Yeah,
just
they're
Uniball.
beautiful.
It's the same ones, you know, I've been ordering, you know, using up and reordering the gold and silver and white. The white I don't think is metallic, but I've been, you know, having to reorder those because I tend to use them a lot. And but it never occurred to me to look to see if there were other colors. And Uniball does an actual packet of, I think it's 10 color. It's either 10 or 12 colors, and it wasn't a lot of money. I think it was $20. And so I was like, okay, that's fantastic. So anyway, so then I had, you know, the blue to use on the inside heart. And I tended to, for the outside, I think I tended to go with the copper, silver, and gold. Anyway, and then I also have been doing this thing. So there's a couple of things here with the coloring. There's I've been using I do a lot of things where I take this big wide soft brush that I have, and I dip it into my watercolor palette, and then I just and it's like maybe it's 1.5 inches across. I'm not sure. Maybe it's anyway. It's nice and soft, but I use it to just swoosh across the page, so I've got a background, a quick background, and I do it a lot for little sketchbooks to make, so I don't have that fear of the blank page. I've got already random color there, and then I'll do that. But anyway, so so I did that. Oh, and then recently I learned about something called sulfite paper, and it was mentioned mainly as something that accepts rubber stamps really well. And so I had gotten that. It also has enough like tooth to it that it'll take watercolor really well. So
Sulfite paper.
I had never used it before or heard of it. And anyway, so it's my new favorite paper just for things like this, because it's not real thick. It's not like you're not putting, like I often would use like 90-pound watercolor for this, and then it wouldn't accept the rubber stamp very well, and you know, all kinds of things. But so this sulfite paper is my new favorite thing. And then the other thing is that you can see the gradated colors, particularly in the Handmade Just For You stamp. But I've got these ink pads made by Tusinco, and they're called Kaleidacolor, and they're graduated colors. You buy like a pink. This one is like the pink purple one on the Wish You Were Here, and then the Handmade is the blue green one. And there's
this one has another one. Yeah.
Yeah, the Handmade on this one is a different blues without the green. And it's possible, I can't remember, but anyway, I've got a whole set of those. They're fantastic. If you like rubber stamps and are struggling with inks that you like, I highly recommend the Tusinco label of VersaFine Clair. VersaFine Clair, VERSA Fine Clair, CLAIR. Those are really the best, just like solid colors. But then they have this additional line where it's like strips of graduated colors, and in the little container for it, they're separated, and then you push them together to ink your stamp and then separate them again to store them so they aren't bleeding into each other. Anyway,
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're really cool. I love them a lot. And they, you know, it's one of those things where it like kind of gives you an instant interesting look about something. Instead of just, you know, I mean, to overstamp or whatever, you know, just the shading of the color makes it, to me, visually more interesting.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah.
It's a finish, it finishes it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. It's like, boom, you know, I mean, just like the little handmade for you, boom, it's done. I don't have to, sometimes I did go back and add gel pen on the back. I don't know if I did with these, but I was doing some for my family, as family and other
Oh,
friends.
no, I don't have a back view. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I do. I'm sorry. What am I saying? Yeah, here.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just makes it, to me, look better. And then I just used Bristol board for the card stock.
Yeah.
And then I, just to save myself time, I made this little sticker. And now I can just plop it on things because that's what I frequently do. Although this isn't true. It says I used Memento stamping, which is another Tusinco brand. That's also super cool because it's little teardrop shaped stamp pads. So you can get in with the point of the teardrop and get, you know, like one leaf and color it and then use, and you can, so I you know, I've been
I
able to,
wondered why those were shaped like teardrops.
yeah, that they're really useful, to, you know, to get that little thing in there. And so you can take a single stamp and hand color it. And they're very tiny and stuff. And I had done something else, and that's where I had these little, but I like, that's good enough. Nobody cares.
Will you spell Tusinco?
It's TSU SINKO.
Okay, so it's Japanese.
Yes. Yeah. It's a Japanese company. And you can, the product line that I use from them is the VersaFine Clair are my main solid color stamp pads. And then I discovered the teardrop, the Memento ones. And
so
those
these are all under the umbrella of the Japanese company. All
yes,
these
these are their lines.
Okay.
And the little teardrop ones are also super cool because you can buy them in like a set of about 12, and it's like random colors basically. So, you know, it's like, okay, now I don't have to make a choice on which colors to get. And now I've got all these colors. And anyway, I have like 3 or 4 sets of them because I just like them so much. And then the Kaleidacolor, it's KALEIDA, Kaleida color, COLOR.
So like kaleidoscope, but not
Right. But I think kaleidoscope is DE, but anyway. And those are the ones that are the variegated colors. And they also have another one that I think it's Versa. I can't remember what it is, but it's supposed to be very good. It's the best ink pad that can stamp on fabric, I think, but I haven't used those, so I can't swear to it. I just learned that recently.
Well, I was really excited to see the Wish You Were Here logo, having been a participant in that. And I got this really fun flashback.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it was like when it suddenly hit me, duh, I've got this.
Loving that.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then after I made them all for this group, I thought, well, you know, I have friends and family who are away, you know, aren't near me. So I made them up for a whole bunch of those as well.
Nice.
Well,
thanks, Laurie.
Yeah.
Really, it's so nice to have Mail coming from way out west. You're so far away, but you're so close.
Yeah, so far away.
Really
I
nice.
mean, I am. And I still, one day I'm going to get out your way because, as I've mentioned before, my brother lives in Cambridge. So I have every reason to go. But, with complications of recent times, it hasn't happened. So
Absolutely.
it will. It will. I'll get out
It
there.
will. We'll
and-
look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's up next, Christina?
Okay, Gail Samuda had sent us a chat message saying that she needed to leave. I wish I had known because I could have put her earlier in the rotation instead of going alphabetically. Her work usually has a textile component lately. She's doing a lot of with stitching and embroidery. I don't know if you guys recall, I think I showed some images and talked about it, but her Cup of Comfort project that she did with the felt squares that were stitched with embroidery stitches to embellish a coffee cup image. It was a COVID project that's going to be recurring. I think it's going to be Women's Caucus for the Art. This piece spoke to me of that project. Connecting and finding ways to show comfort in your own personal world, but like extending it to those who need comfort. The idea of the hugging and the connection on these birds, I don't know, it was just something about this piece reminded me of her other project that she's currently working on as well, which I guess makes sense. Yeah.
This graphically is so strong and fun. And to have those little lace hearts were just, it's really pretty in a simple yet complex way.
Yeah. I like the wraparound of the heart to the inside. Where, that was kind of key. And she too chose to, close the loop by keeping our logo in play. I like this idea, but I keep forgetting to do it. Like I'll be in the middle of making the card and think it's all set, and then where am I going to put this? So I think next year I'm going to make it more forward in my head about incorporating the Posted with Love graphic. Yeah, because it's nice. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry she had to leave.
Okay, who's next?
All right. Okay. All right. Let me
Oh, I had to unmute. There we
yeah,
go.
Donna, I'm gonna spotlight you here. Okay.
So I'm trying to rack my brain to try to figure out what gave me the idea to make the little kind of wraparound hearts. And I think it was because I was looking at folded paper for the Cape Bound work.
Yeah.
And I was doing folded paper for my books there in the Cape Bound exhibit. And I thought that would be a really nice idea, just to like play with folded paper. And when I was buying paper for something else, I noticed this heart paper, these large sheets of this heart paper. And I thought, well, that would be kind of neat. So I bought several sheets of that, and it kind of just all came together. Somehow I figured to just make little 4-inch squares with 4 hearts in each and then fold them and stick them together. And I made a few prototypes with like 3 and 4 on them, and the 4 seemed to work the most. So I then thought, well, these are kind of little, and how am I going to make them sort of special? So I thought, I remembered last year I made handmade envelopes, and I really was into that. So I made the little handmade envelope. And then on the prototype that I made, I signed it, and it was like, I signed it with black marker, and it got like all feathered and yucky looking, and my handwriting is lousy too. So I thought, well, rather than ruin the little card, I found these at the dollar store, which was, as you said, Christina, the $1.25 store. For $1.25, I bought a pack of heart-shaped fuzzy stickers. And so I decided to sign it, sign my name and post it with love on the sticker, and then tuck it into the little heart. And then I made the larger envelope and I tucked everything in together and sealed it with a heart on the outside. And sure enough, I went to the post office and they're like, this is oversized. It's going to cost you more than a regular stamp. And I'm like, what? So I mailed them in groups because I think I finished 6 and then I mailed them and then I finished another 4 more and then I mailed them. And then the last batch I mailed. But I went to the same post office twice and they made this whole big stink about, oh, we don't have stamps for this. We're going to have to just print out. And then I went to a different post office the last time and they're like, oh, this will take just 2 regular stamps. And they made no big deal of it at all, which was even less expensive. So I'm like, what's going on with the post office? But I hope everybody got theirs because of first I thought, did they make a mistake with the price and they're going to realize that the 2 stamps weren't enough and are they going to come back to me? But they didn't come back to me, so I hope you all got them. I do want to say that I really got into making these little heart like Valentine ornaments, and they can open up. My granddaughter, my little granddaughter last year really loved looking at all the Valentine hearts, so I had her overnight last night, and this morning we spent probably an hour, if not longer, just opening them up and looking at every one of them. And she took mine and she decided that it had to be taped together. So make use of an ornament that stays shut. Apparently this child loves using tape. So I guess the kid does.
I had a teeny tiny little glue dot. That's all I did. And they come off real easy. And I
probably
ran it through my fingers a little bit to make it less sticky.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't hurt it. Yeah.
I played with mine a lot. I rolled it and opened it and closed it and closed it and just kind of rolled it in my hands.
Well, that's good. And Christina, I love the way that you're like the slide that you have out now. I'm like, wow, she did that. I didn't think of that. So thank you.
It looks like a flower.
Yeah, it's a heart.
Yeah, it's interesting all the ways you can pose it. Yeah.
And there's a few more things. What I ended up doing was I ran out of that paper, but I thought, oh, I'll make them for the grandkids. So I made them for my grandkids and I made them for my husband's grandkids. And then my daughter wanted one and I ended up making a lot more of them. And I ran out of the paper. So I just had plain old red construction paper and that worked really well too. They stayed open really nicely.
Yeah.
And then I do a book arts zine making workshop once a week at a homeless shelter.
Oh,
And
wow.
so
Okay.
I brought the little Valentines to the homeless shelter, and one guy, believe it or not, a guy, he's like in his mid or late 50s. He got into making them. He's like, I've got grandchildren. I'm making these. And he got into making them. So I guess the
That
love
had to be super
I
fulfilling.
love hearing that. Thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'll give you all some feedback from my granddaughter. When you're 6, you really have opinions, believe me, especially when it comes to Valentines and things that are pink and red. Christina, she loves yours because of the mirrors.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Yes, I'm glad that the boob and vaginal shapes weren't that evident.
Oh, it was lost on her. Good. She's
No,
like 6.
not because they would be lost on her, but because she would stick with them. She has a 15-year-old brother who's into being very obnoxious.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In fact, she drew this morning. She was doing all kinds of craft work. She drew what she called a wiener dog. I won't go any further with that.
Well, that's a Dodson.
Christina, you would have loved it.
Totally.
But she also loved
Classic.
Anya's. She loved Anya's because she started throwing the red pieces of paper all over the kitchen, calling them confetti.
Yeah.
And I told her that everybody got one. And she goes, oh, there would be hundreds and hundreds of pieces of confetti. So yeah. So it was fun. It was fun sharing it with her.
Yeah.
Adorable.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Donna.
Well, thank you all. I mean, this was just so much fun. I really loved being a part of it.
Yeah.
Who's out there banging and cutting?
Sorry, I'm kind of making dinner while I'm
Oh, okay.
while I'm watching.
Let's
Okay.
turn the let's mute if we
I'll
can.
mute me.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, Stephanie, you're up. Let me find you and spotlight you. Ah,
Hi.
love this.
Hi.
Nice to-
Um, yeah, so this is also what I found out is called Tetra Pak. I'd been printing on milk cartons for quite a while before I found out it had a fancy name, Tetra Pak, which I found out by looking at the actual milk carton and it says Tetra Pak. Anyhow, what I liked is that you can cut them up to make shaped prints because I'm just really sick of rectangles all the time. So I've been encouraging my students to make shaped plates, which is much more fun, I find. You can draw on the plastic surface to create an embossment. So you can either print them as if it's like an intaglio wipe with the recessed areas, or you can do a relief roll and then you'll get all the recessed areas will be white. So I found that was pretty fun. I taught a workshop for Valentine students who wanted to make their own cards, and theirs were really great. They were much more inventive than mine, but that's what you hope for, right? So this was printed in Akua ink. If you use it in a very thin layer on cardstock, it dries just fine. And I had different colored paper, so I used different colored inks on the different colored papers.
So Stephanie, that you took a milk carton and then drew a shape, cut it out, and then embossed it like with a pen.
Yeah,
and
I
then
just drew
that-
it. I drew into it with a pen that had no ink.
Uh-huh.
You can also carve into it with an X-Acto and peel back parts of it.
Do you have a pic? Do you have it with you? Could you like show us what it looked like?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't prepare. I'm sorry.
These are
Oh,
the cartons. When she says milk carton, she means like one of these non-perishable
No, no,
shelf
no. It's
stable
like
ones.
no. It's like lactate, like any of the milk. They're like waxy on the inside.
Okay,
and they're
because there
white.
are people who are, like we heard earlier, that are cutting like the stock boxes and soy milk and the shelf stable
Right.
milk.
Those
And those
work.
boxes
Those
are
work
lined
too.
with a metallic aluminum product, and they
Yep.
carve and look very similar to this too.
Yeah, so you
Yes.
don't
Okay.
have to use that. You can use that. But you also can use the inside of milk cartons, just wash them out so they don't smell bad. And,
Wow. Okay, I've
um,
never tried the milk carton literally. Okay.
So I'm so intrigued by this. So it's the inside that you use as the surface, not the outside?
well, really only because I can see what I'm doing because it's blank on the inside. I
Okay.
think any waxy surface would be fine. It works great for stencils because it's sturdy enough, and it's also resistant, so it doesn't absorb the ink.
Oh my God. I am so excited.
I think you could use it with jelly prints. I had the students, we printed, I think we printed 4 up at a time so that everyone was able to print a lot of Valentines, and we used an etching press. But I imagine you could probably do it with like a little Woodzilla, or you could probably do jelly prints. I didn't, or even print on like Kozo paper or something. I just didn't try that because I have a press, so I use that.
But
What
if you don't
about
have
using Carolyn's little palm press?
It would
I
probably
could have
work well
used
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
or like if just use my Baron.
Yes, you probably
Yeah.
could do that with softer paper.
And it's so nice to cut, right? You can really
Just
cut it easily.
scissors, yeah, or you can
Yeah.
use an X-Acto.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Oh my God. I can see I'm going to go off in a rabbit hole and not get the things done that I have to get done.
Well,
You're
just
gonna
save
drink a
all your
lot of,
milk.
but you gotta drink a lot of milk.
Just save all
So
your
you'll
milk
have the
cartons.
strength.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. And so great. Yay.
So
Thank you.
if you look on my Instagram, there are some pictures of what the students did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just didn't, I didn't, actually, I didn't want to give Christina any more work by putting more things up. Also, I thought I would probably be last and people would be really, hungry and wanted to go to dinner, so. But,
I asked you guys to throw things in the folder, and I tried to stay with doing that. It did occur to me that I could hop on and do some screen grabs and add them to your slideshow for tonight, but I need to stop doing extras.
exactly.
I just, Kate Bound was eating us alive. I'm part
Yep.
of this Mind, Memory, and Mycelium show. That's a short show over there.
Mhm.
I've just got way too much on me right now, so I need to take
Yeah.
a chill pill. But I tell you, honey, I loved it, and I love the fact that it's a real heart as a Valentine's card. It's just really out there and up there and right up in the business, and it sang to me. I loved it.
Well, I was going to write Take Another Little Piece of My Heart by Janis Joplin, but then, 18, okay, edit to Take Heart.
That's a different concept, though. It's
Yeah.
more open to interpretation too. Which
Well,
is,
I thought also we needed to take heart. It's pretty rough out there, so
Yeah.
take heart. Be strong.
yeah,
Yep.
it's
Wonderful.
it's life force too. There's so many hearts mean so many different things.
I
Fantastic.
appreciate all the positive sentiments in all these cards.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
Life sustaining.
Mm,
Yeah, sometimes it's bloody. That's okay.
That's right.
yeah.
You gotta pump it.
Yeah. All
Good work.
right.
These were
Fantastic.
lovely. Really
Well-
fun, really surprising.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think is there Susan St. Maurice? Is she?
We're still going.
Yeah, good.
This was a really sweet little treat too. I
yeah.
just was blown away by this one. Let me spotlight her. Very nice. I haven't had a chance to see Susan in a while. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Well, I started out with this orange, really thickly textured metallic paper that I had bought on a whim and never used. And I started out with the Virginia Woolf quote, which I loved. And I knew I wanted to make something three-dimensional and with some engineering to it. And I just went around and around and around and around. And I had several iterations and several prototypes and could not, and it all came together at the end, like after the deadline had passed. So I just kept plugging away. And when I had this great quote, which was clearly written by in one of her diaries, referring to a lover. And I thought, well, like, geez, I can't, this doesn't really apply with me sending this to people. I'm not thinking about all of you people all the time. And then I know, sorry. And then this is my little 14-year-old Chihuahua mix, mostly deaf, who went missing for 48 hours last October and was just being sighted around the neighborhood and finally came home in the middle of the night. And I thought, anybody who's ever had a dog, that they're always thinking about you. So this was her picture from her wanted poster. So I decided to use that.
Sweet.
Oh, her wanted poster.
It goes thematically with your zine of Geyser's Dream, kind of being sort of like, oh, this is a family dog. I saw the little, and I even took the picture this way. This is how I saw like a little eye, and I knew it was a dog. I was like, oh my goodness, there's a dog inside here.
So I had several different ways that I was trying to make it physically happen. And I had some progression of opening it, and it was getting to be too many layers. It was getting to be too thick and too complicated and not easy, and it didn't feel right. And I finally came up with this reversible card hanging from a thread, and it just all of a sudden it worked.
I should have
love the
retouched that
rounded
little
corners.
Yeah, I love the rounded corners too. Yeah. I didn't receive mine. NEBA received theirs. Mine, I never got it, so I'm not sure. But NEBA, got theirs, and so I should have probably retouched that teeny bit of a tear. The envelope was damaged.
Yeah.
So it got a little teeny
unfortunately,
tear in it.
I had one extra and I gave it to my husband for Valentine's Day.
No
Yes.
worries. NEBA's is sitting right here. You know,
So there's also a learning curve on this one that I know all about finding the grain of your paper and not folding against the grain. And when I was laying out my cards, you know, how many I was going to cut out of each piece of paper. I think it's Bristol, and I cut them all out. They were all the perfect size. And I went to fold the first one, and I realized it was going against the grain. So all the folds are mucky, and I realized I will never, ever, ever screw up the grain of my paper again. It's like one way to learn is when you realize you have to make 22 of these things. Or
Yeah, Bristol's really like
done them all
be
wrong.
that way.
yeah.
Susan, did you score before you folded?
No, I didn't.
Because I used Bristol also, and I found that if I didn't score, it got bad. So I was probably also going against the grain. I didn't even think about it. But when I scored first, the fold was nice.
That's a good idea. I'll do that
Yeah.
next time. Just anyway, do that.
I'd like to add to that though, because sometimes it doesn't work, and I'm gonna make a confession while I add to it. Because I think it was 16 years ago now that I took a letterpress class at Mass Art, and it was a bookmaking and letterpress class, and it was co-taught by Stephanie. And Stephanie, the day that we were supposed to bring the books that we were supposed to, the signature that we were supposed to contribute to the book that the whole class made, I was at work, and I figured I had made the books that I had printed them, but I hadn't folded them, and I put them on Bristol, and I said, oh, I'll just fold them before I run to class. I was working in Brookline at the time, and I was going to Mass Art, and I said, I'll just fold them real quick before I go to class after I got done teaching. And I was in my office, and I started folding them, and I did score them, and the Bristol started cracking. And I'm like,
Dang.
I
Yeah.
have time to fix this. I yell at my students when they do stuff at the last minute. I can't make it sound. And I was just, so I started like folding them real gingerly. Well, that was my confession. But so you got to be really careful with Bristol, because even when
Bristol's really dry.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But lovely piece, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And love your little guy.
Oh yeah. I love pet art in these projects. Some of my favorites have been some of the pet pieces. And little dude is not so little anymore, right, Stephanie?
No, he's I can barely pick him up. He's
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Love it.
I don't know if Patsy is with us. Patsy is a new member, Patsy Surratt.
Oh.
And didn't she make such a beautiful little presentation?
Yeah,
This was
I
so
don't know if
sweet
she's with us.
with a belly band. No, she's not.
No.
Yeah, I never got this one. Yeah, which is
Oh no, you didn't get this one? Little kimono?
yeah,
Somebody's microwave just went off.
not mine.
Oh, that's hilarious. Maybe somebody's out there warming up some sake to the exact precise temperature that it needs to be
I
warmed to.
don't know, but I'm getting hungry.
I am
Yeah,
too.
me
I am
too. So are there any
Super
more
cute.
pictures?
These were super cute. I really enjoyed them.
Yep.
And last but not least, Marcia, I don't believe is with us either. Marcia Vogler.
She is not.
Yeah.
I really love the butcher or the baker thread that Susan
Yeah.
Marsh used and this project.
Yeah, I like this one too.
Open it up. Let's
This is
see
nice.
it.
Yeah.
That's the front and the back view, in case you were wondering.
Uh-huh.
This
And
is
these
another
are
one of those,
individual watercolors, little watercolors.
this is another one of those projects that had lots of different layers to it that was really wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she gives you a little bit of the story here. I'm gifting you this book card as it had been gifted to me. A friend gave me the pages of the Garden and Forest Journal from 1897 letterpress. A friend taught me the Heidi Kyle wallet fold, and another friend gave me the sweet paper with the hearts embedded. So she's sharing multiple kinds of gifts. Yeah, each of these little watercolors they're similar, but each is hand done, so each one's a little bit different.
And mine was a collage.
Oh, okay.
So it's different too. I love that it was gifts from lots of her friends that she put all together, and that it's a little book. I just thought it was really lovely.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
We don't need to see our addresses.
And that's it. That's the last person. So maybe
Well, not
more
everybody.
maybe more people will join next year so we can split the group in half.
Oh,
But then we don't get all of them.
Everybody talk about
18's a lot.
18's a lot. 18 is a lot.
That
Well,
was
I
fun
am-
though. It was great fun.
I am thrilled because even joining as late as I did, I feel like I was looking through my cards. I think I only missed 3 or 4 presentations. So
We usually take 5 to 10 minutes of chatter to let people come in. So we don't always start right on time.
yeah, but I was really late. So anyway, I thought, oh, I probably missed half of them, and I hadn't. So yay.
Well, there was so much to say about all of them. We learned so much tonight about each other and our methods and our madness. And
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you,
it was
everybody.
really
Yeah.
great to see you all.
Being part of this.
Don't forget, we've got a Zoom meeting now on the Cape Bound show that's at Cape Cod Community College. It is going to be a Zoom meeting.
It's going to be a NEBA show and tell
meeting.
Zoom. It's not going to be a Cape Cod Community College webinar.
Okay.
We've had to take over the management of it. Lots of stories in the background here, but we are okay because we do show and tell right. We know
Just
how to
like
run
this.
our
Yes.
own show and tell.
Oh,
And everybody has fun.
When
Same
is it?
day, same
Thank you,
time,
everyone.
The 7th?
Thank you. It was
On the
so
second.
nice.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
3 p.m.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so
all.
much.
okay.